You can be married, loyal, and committed, and still not feel like friends anymore. Friendship doesn't disappear, it fades when it's ignored.
Let's talk about love and marriage the way that God intended. A life experience, here we share it. The No Fruit Podcast. Tune in from any platform. No Fruit Podcast. We'll help your spirit transform.
Yo, y'all, what's going on?
Hello.
So here's what this topic is about. This topic today is about friendship and marriage, and how it could be the most overlooked part of marriage. And y'all might have heard us talk about this in the past, where there have been times where Kafi and I role played, not in a kinky way, but we have role played where we're like, listen, I need to talk to my friend and tell my friend what's really going on with my wife and I, or whatever. So in some ways, you kind of say certain things. It kind of allows you to bring the guard down just a little. And you can kind of say what you need to, because sometimes you can't say it directly to your spouse. You don't feel comfortable necessarily, but you could kind of sometimes say it to your friend. And so that is one of the things that really has helped me over the years, to kind of get certain feelings or whatever out. But I realized how important the friendship was, or their space of friendship was for both of us. Kav, what's your thoughts?
My thoughts are, we started off as friends, and I think that, as you're stating, Maurice, continues on, even in our relationship now. So when you're asking opinions about certain things or whatnot, not only in reference to how you're feeling about our relationship, but just the friendship that goes beyond that, when it comes to things that we do together, and that's what I think. I think we have a friendship, and the base is from the very beginning when we started off as friends. As you stated, yes, when times are troubling, we don't necessarily go to counseling or to people outside of our relationship. We go to each other, but we go to that person that we first met, being that friend that we had for a few months before we really started officially dating. We talked as friends. Then as friends, the friendship grew into more of a relationship, and then a courtship, that type of a thing.
So I think sometimes the idea of friendship can create an idea of safety, right? Mm-hmm. And because, a lot of us out there, we have a bunch of friends that we share some of the most intimate thoughts, ideas, whatever, deep, dark secrets. And there are some like, you can hold it until almost like death do you part, mentality. But you may not have that real intimate relationship like you would with your spouse, or a girlfriend or a boyfriend or whatever. So I know there are some friends that's kind of like, we ride or die for each other, period. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you don't always have that, or what I've seen and experienced, and I'm sorry, not our experience, but what I have seen and heard from others in my circles. Hey, I don't have that real ride or die. I love this individual, but we're not friends. We're not, that death do you part when it comes to those deep, dark secrets, if you will. And I think those are some things that you and I, Kafa, have, especially recently, have been diving deeper into. Mm-hmm. Of like, all right, here's a situation. Because I'm going to be honest with y'all, there were moments in our relationship where I was like, well, Kafa, I really don't know everything about you, right? I feel like you're holding things back. But here's the reality. It's like, well, am I blaming her for what I'm doing or not doing? Am I holding stuff back? Am I, keeping deep, dark secrets or whatever it is? And I understand everything is not for everybody's ears either, right?
And some things are not deep, dark secrets.
I'm just using that as an example,
Mm-hmm.
right? And but the part of that is that sometimes with your friends, you don't mind being judged, but somebody that you love, you do mind being judged or looked at in a negative light. So I think so what happens is that things can progress and grow and become better if you understand that, hey, the person that I sleep with every night, literally, who smells my bad morning breath, and unfortunately, we saw a meme or a video where they talked about if you flatulate in the bed, and the other night, boy, I did it by accident.
Whatever.
I told her it smelled like a zoo, but the reality is, some things you could do with your friends and around your friends that you can't do in other places, and so can you really do that with your spouse?
And I think that's the difference right there. You're hitting it right on the head is you're doing things with your friends or with other people that you wouldn't do with your spouse, with someone you're in a committed relationship with. And a lot of times that's because of the love. Sometimes that's because of your emotional connection. Sometimes that's because of the intimacy. You don't want to hurt that person. You don't want to cause damage to that relationship. And I think because of that, you monitor what you say, how you say it. And it's not that you're holding things back. It's not purposefully. But, with everything, you do it in love. And you have to be cautious and cognizant of that person and how you feel about them and how what you're going to say will make them feel. For people that you don't care about, oh, wow. You can say whatever because you don't care about them.
Right.
You know what I mean? You don't have a second guess. You don't think twice about what you're going to say unless it's like, yo, I don't want this to go to blows, so I'm going to be cautious about what I'm going to say. But usually when somebody you don't care about, then you don't care what you say as much. So
right.
I think that's the difference in the friendship. In the friendship, you think not only about yourself, you're not selfish, you think about that person and what you do, what you say, and how that's going to impact them.
Right.
And impact the relationship as a whole. Like, hey, is this going to help the relationship or is this going to hurt it? Is this going to mend us and bring us closer together or not?
Right.
And then where are you in the level of your relationship? In the beginning, are you spilling all your guts and like, hey, this is who I am, love me or hate me, take me or leave me? But then later on, like once you have some things, skin in the game, then you might be like, I don't want to cut you because I don't want to get cut.
Right.
You know what I mean? Cut out, because I care for you. I don't want to have this end anything or you think about me differently or you look at me sideways or whatever, especially for things that have happened in the past before your relationship even came about. Like, you can't get mad at me because I stole bubblegum from my sister. Oh, you a thief. Like, once a thief, always a thief. I was 5. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, but sometimes people take it that serious. And, that can be one thing if you're dating and you've, have been dating for a few months and versus you've been dating, courting, married, and have much more skin in the game than and you say, hey, you tell this bubblegum incident because now that you have a kid and the little kid did something, you're like, dang, I remember I did that too. You're like, you did what? That was, why would you do that to your sister?
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think that's the part. And then you say, oh, well, you never told me that. You a liar. You haven't, you
Right.
didn't share everything with me. Well, guess what? I didn't go step by step for every day of my life. Like, all right, I
Right.
stole bubblegum from my sister when I was 5. You want to know what I did when I was 5 years old in 2 days? Like, it gets tough on, when those things come back up to your own mind,
Right.
let alone when do you share that stuff?
Right.
Because it may not be the appropriate time to share it. Like, it might come up in my mind, but it's the middle of a meeting or something like that, and it's not the time to be like, hey, guess what? I know we in a meeting, but,
Right. Yeah.
I never told you this story before.
Yeah.
So, you just kind of have to kind of go with the flow. But having a friendship in your marriage, takes things so much further because you do have somebody to do life with in a different way, not just as a spouse, but as a friend. You can have things that you do together that you won't do with other people. And it just makes, I think, things better. Have Maurice and I have had periods of time in our marriage where we weren't so friendly. Yes. Every day is not the best friendly day. I don't know why my mind is racing right now. I'm like, friendly's closed.
Really coughing.
So, but we used to go there for dates. So, so every day won't be fun. Even when you think about your own good friends that you've had in life, whether it was childhood friends or adult friends, not every day is great. They don't, wake up in the morning and send you hey, have a great day message every single day.
Right. Right.
Right. Life's, and we just have to learn how to move forward with it. So,
And I think one of the things that I had to do was, and some of that is reflect on myself
mm-hmm.
and understand where I stand and become more confident. So here's one of the resources that I had used to get to that point.
Introducing Well, Why Not the Workbook? The transformative workbook for your journey of self-discovery and growth. Uncover your true purpose, overcome challenges, and embrace fulfillment. Let Well, Why Not the Workbook be your trusted companion in navigating life's twists and turns. Embrace your potential. Discover your why. Transform your life. Purchase Well, Why Not the Workbook, because your journey deserves purpose and fulfillment. You can purchase today on Amazon.com.
So I think that's one of the things that we need to be aware of understanding what is our why, what is our purpose, where we're going, what we're doing, and why we're doing it, or whatever it is. And through that, we understand that in being friends, can we still laugh together? Can we still sing songs together? Can we still dance together? Or do I feel, repulsed or whatever the situation is? Like Kafi said, we haven't always been friends, or acted as friends. But Kafi, like you stated, some of the friends that I've had, I don't talk to them all the time. Some of them are really a yearly conversation, and it's only, and I realized that, like, there are some where I contact, and I only contact them really around their birthday, and then I don't talk to them again for another year,
mm-hmm.
right? And the thing is, it's not always even reciprocated around mine.
Right. But when you do talk to them, it's like y'all bust it up and everything is good.
Right.
You know what I mean? So.
Right. So I think that's the difference. And so what happens as well is that within marriage, because we are together every day or whatever it is, some of the things that hinder us, like I had mentioned about laughter, about us just cracking up.
Mm-hmm.
Like recently, I have been in tears with Kafi. I literally, like, we're laughing so much, so hard, or whether it's ourselves or at each other. So I'll give you an example, right? We've had quite a few recently. And so Kafa's in the bathroom. She's chilling, right? Doing her hair, nails, something. She's doing something in the bathroom, right? So I go upstairs and I go to talk to her. She might have been cleaning. I don't remember because I knew I was going to go into another room and finish doing up whatever I was doing. And so, unfortunately, I turned to walk out the bathroom, but I don't make the necessary or correct myself in the amount of degrees that I need to turn all the way out of the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
So I might have needed to turn, let's say 67 degrees out to go out the bathroom, but I might have only turned 25. So I literally hit my face, my whole face, not part of my face, my whole face, from my forehead to my chin. Now, in that moment, and y'all need to see Kafa, she's dying over here. So I hit the wall, and I hit the wall in such a fashion that I bounced off the wall. Now, here is a situation that instead of her saying in a loving wife way, baby, are you okay? Are you all right? It is the friend fallout laughter vibe, right? Because if you're in such a loving way, right, it'll be such a different response. But normally friends, we laugh at each other when we fall, when we run to the walls, when we do whatever, right? Kafa was dying.
Mm-hmm.
And she was laughing about that situation maybe a good week almost, right? So, and here's the reality. I was too. I wasn't hurt. I mean, my face was, a little jacked up just because, you're not used to having your face smash into a wall, whatever. But I was able to laugh at it as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so the reality is that whether I look like a cartoon or whatever situation was, but we were able to laugh about it, joke about it. Again, being in that space where we can still be friends and laugh about situations. Now, some of you might be like, well, Maurice, that sounds like it hurt. Oh, no, it did, right? But like I stated, sometimes your friends, unfortunately, when they fall down the steps, it's just a manner or the way they have fallen down the steps, right? Or, and I'm using something like that because you can say, hey, you know what, that sounds like it could be serious, but, there's certain scenarios or situations. We look at YouTube all the time and say, I dare you to laugh, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just the manner. Sometimes people just fall in slow motion. And you be like, really? It took you 5 minutes to fall, and, whatever the situation is. So I think laughter has really helped us, especially in the most recent years, of maintaining that friendship. Understanding that, hey, you know what? Life is not that hard. It's not that deep. And when we do have real serious moments, we can still throw in a joke. Like we do the podcast. I always got a song in my head. So anytime Kafa says something, I got a song. I just don't say it all the time, but I do. Kafa has, whatever she got going on. Because I don't always know, and y'all, and those of you who know Kafa knows that she's quiet. So I'm pretty sure there is something going on in the head of hers. Most definitely. So, you hear that? You hear that? That's what I got to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
So all you could do is sit there and try to guess. I won't say out loud, but I'll be trying to guess, like, what's she really thinking about? So, so I think laughter helps to build up what we have going on and our longevity.
Most definitely. I think laughter kind of started our relationship.
It did.
Um,
Because I'm a goofball. for the most part.
He's goofy, but yeah, I made jokes about his footwear in the very beginning. So things kind of started off on that note of us being jokesters with one another. So as we end this podcast today, we just want you to know that friendship is truly, truly a great part of a marriage, and it helps to become the functional marriage instead of just and makes it more fulfilling. So in order to have a fulfilling marriage, you got to have some friendship. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I think the two kind of go together and help make a fun, fantastic, friendly, fulfilling marriage. Mm-hmm. So, Reese, you got anything else?
No, I don't have anything else. I just hope that, you can plan one moment, one no agenda moment this week, and what I mean by no agenda, that, hey, we're not going to sit and talk about bills, mm-hmm. right? And this no agenda vibe, involves no problem solving, or anything like that. It's just about you just being present with one another. And otherwise, just, subscribe and commit to rebuilding friendship on purpose. That's really about it.
All right. So we'll look forward to hearing from you and what you're doing to build a friendship in your marriage. And until then, we'll talk to you all real soon.
Peace.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the No Fruit Podcast, where we bring you fruitful conversations, ripened wisdom, and love that's deeply rooted. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with someone who could use a little inspiration in their day. Until next time, stay rooted in love, and remember, every seed you plant today shapes the fruit of tomorrow.